Hello, welcome to American Bakery in Germany. I'm Michelle, and today I am so excited about this cake I'm making today. I can't even tell you how much I've anticipated it, how much I've worked and thought about the design, and I'm so excited to present it today because my friend is a photographer. Her name is Britnae Sanelli, by the way, so I'm going to include her links all over the place. Britnae Sanelli Photography. But she and her family have been in Germany the past year and a half, and they have become very good friends of mine. And I'm going to miss them a lot, and I said, I cannot let you leave without me making you a cake. I even said those exact words, I think. I don't let my friends leave without me making them a cake. The cake design I have come up with is probably one of the prettiest designs I've ever come up with. It is an architecture-inspired cake, because I have noticed, and looking at her pictures of the different travels they've done, is that she takes a great deal of pictures of the buildings, probably because the architecture in Europe is so different than it is in America. So I am going off of two styles. These styles came from long ago, centuries before. So the bottom tier is going to be a half-timbered style, which is extremely popular in this area. I'll show a few examples of what the architecture actually looks like here. So the base color of both tiers is going to be kind of an off-white ivory kind of a color. For the top tier, I'm using a rococo style is my inspiration. It has like very elaborate woodworking, and it's usually gilded. And as a final touch, to bring this elegant cake all together, I'm going to make some dusty roses to go on the top and on the sides, and just to tie it together. This is also the cake that I made gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. So I'm really excited to show all of these things with you. So let's get started.
Here are a few examples of Britnae Sanelli's gorgeous photography. See her links below. I started out making the roses a few days before. I got this color ratio for Dusty Rose from Lorelei at Wedding Cakes for You. It's mostly white with 2 parts red and 1 part brown. I mixed all the colors together and it was just a touch too dark for what I wanted, so I added more white to lighten it. The final color was exactly the delicate dusty rose color I was looking for. This is the 3rd time I'm making fondant roses on camera, and I'm using a different technique than before. Again, there are about 5 or 6 legitimate techniques for making a fondant rose. I rolled out some dusty rose fondant and cut out some circles with the back of a Russian piping tip. I made a tiny cone as a base. I start out thinning out the edges of the petals with a ball tool. I wrap them around the base in odd numbers, starting with 1. Then I do 3 petals overlapping each other. I turn the petals out to make the flower bloom and crimp them a bit to give them a curl. Then I decided I don't like the way the ball tool thins out the edges, so I used my fingers. I liked it a lot better and only made them this way afterwards. I overlap 5 petals this time. I roll the petals down the same way as before. I think it turned out really beautiful and looks exactly like a real rose. I'll show me making 1 more. Just keep in mind odd numbers. Here are the roses I made for the cake. I let them dry about 2 days. Then I started stacking my cakes. This is gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free vanilla cake and dairy-free Swiss meringue buttercream. See my tutorials on how I made them in the eye. I stacked both tiers on a piece of cardboard covered in aluminum foil. Notice that gluten-free cake doesn't brown as much as cake made with wheat-based flour. I crumb coat the cake and chill it in the fridge to allow the buttercream to set up. Then I do the same thing with the lower tier. However, I used up the last of a recipe of dairy-free Swiss meringue buttercream and had to make another half batch to frost the cakes again. If you like what we do here, consider subscribing for a new cake every week, including regular bonus videos with recipes and other tutorials. Then I place my bottom tier on the final presentation board before frosting it again. This is a cake drum covered in gold craft paper and washi tape, and then wrapped in plastic wrap to make it food safe. I finished frosting the bottom tier and chill it for half an hour to let the buttercream set up. I need to make some ivory fondant, but all I really had was tan. So I mixed the tan fondant with a good amount of white to lighten it, and it was exactly the color I wanted. Then I rolled out a piece of it, picked it up with my fondant rolling pin, and draped it over the top tier. I smoothed it on with my fondant smoother and my hands, and trimmed off the excess with a sharp knife. Pressed the bottom lip into the cake and trimmed off the last of the excess. Then I chilled it in the fridge while I covered the bottom tier. Just like the top tier, I rolled out ivory fondant. Picked it up with my fondant rolling pin and draped it over the cake. I smoothed it on with my fondant smoother and my hands and trimmed off the excess with a sharp knife. I pressed the bottom lip into the cake and trimmed off the last of the excess. Then I use shashlik skewers to stabilize the bottom tier. I mark where I want to cut it with a knife and cut several pieces the same length. I place them in a circle formation with one in the center. Then I put a bit of buttercream between the tiers and place the top tier on top. Now it's time to decorate. I start out using my clay extruder to make thick black strips. Then I stick the first one on around the bottom tier with edible glue. Then another one around the top of the side of the bottom tier. Then I place some vertical lines at regular intervals by placing one and then another on the opposite side. Then one as close to halfway between those as I could get on each side. Then I measured the remaining space and split it into thirds using the strips again. Then, using thinner black strips, I made X's in every second box. For the top tier, I'm using this press mold with flourishes and fleur-de-lis. I start out making all of them and choosing which ones I want to decorate with. I chose 2 of them and placed them on the base of the top tier. The color of the fondant isn't the final color. I knew I wanted to paint them gold, so I just needed something that wasn't too different from gold. This is yellow mixed with a touch of red, which gave it a bit of a pinkish tinge. There was a bit of a gap at the end, which I filled with another of the second flourish. Then I mixed gold luster dust with clear alcohol to make a quite thick edible paint. I painted the flourishes as well as I could. This process took forever, so I'll speed the footage way up. Finally, I placed a group of roses on the top of the cake, 3 between the tiers, and 3 on the presentation board, using only buds at the base. I am so happy with this cake. It is very close to what I pictured in my head. It's just so elegant and classy. I love it. The best part was Britney's reaction. She teared up and said she had never cried because of a cake before. She said it was perfect. It was just exactly what I was hoping for, and this kind of design could totally be a wedding cake. It's just so very pretty. Wishing the Sanelli family all the best back in the US. We'll miss you. For a full cake gallery, visit our website, AmericanBakerInGermany.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe. While freezing the cake layers, one layer had formed thicker ice and caused the aluminum foil to stick to it, so I had to pry it off. My 5-year-old helped get it off. We did eventually get it all off, though.